And that Mexico card did not disappoint, unless you're a fan of the Mexican fighters only, I guess, because they disappointed the crowd. But that was an electric card from start to finish. The atmosphere was absolutely nuts. It was the loudest crowd I could remember for the first fight of the night in recent memory. Maybe one of those out of country cards matched it, but I don't know. It was absolutely popping inside the octagon. The knockout of the night didn't even happen inside of the octagon, though.
Yeah.
Brandon Moreno, man, that was a disappointing performance from him. I was texting one of my friends. I said, I hate to say this, but he almost looks a little old out there in that fight.
Happens fast, bro. We gotta start realizing, and we say all the time, but like how much a loss matters. Once you're on a big run, a loss can just comes quick. Everything just comes so fast.
Yeah, that balloon gets popped. Oof, so quickly, man. It's not like Royval even looked that great in there. Moreno, he just looked a step slow to me. He wasn't throwing those boxing combos. I read one thing that I thought was very true. It was just a random Instagram comment, but someone said that when Moreno fought Figgy in that quadrilogy, he would stand in the pocket, take one to give one. He was more of a brawler. But lately, he's kind of been more technical on the feet, dancing around, like picking that one big shot. He kept just throwing those overhands, the overhand left, which looks very ugly, but it's effective. And then the overhand right. He wasn't really throwing too many combos from what I saw. I was disappointed with it. I thought the judges got it right. What was your take on that main event?
Yeah, I mean, kind of just everything you said. Right when it felt like Moreno was gonna get going or this was the time to go, it just never. He didn't have that switch.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of kept saying like during the fight, like, all right, here he comes, here he comes, here he comes, and he just didn't. Um, like yeah, like you said, I mean, it wasn't anything Royval did. Obviously, he fought a great fight. No discredit to him, but I think the more story of this fight is how Moreno looked and what Moreno didn't do. Um,
Yeah,
just kind of feel for it, and like you just on top of the world 1 minute, and then now you lost your last two fights, and it's just hard to see.
he's still. I was talking to one of my friends though, huge fan of Mexican MMA, just Mexican combat sports in general, and he says he puts Moreno above Kane at this point, just as the GOAT, just bringing the sport forward in that country. We saw the UFC PI in Mexico got built during that week. So even if Moreno's time inside the octagon or his peak might be coming to an end, he still has done an insane amount of things for that country as a whole and just the sport of MMA in Mexico. I've got to throw up this scorecard. These were the judges' scorecards from Perin or from Royval and Moreno. I want y'all to look at the one in the middle. If you guys are just listening to audio, Junicho Camingo, however you say his name, scored the fight 49-46 in favor of Brandon Moreno.
Yeah,
I was baffled when I heard that. I was baffled when I heard split decision. I was like, bro, they're really about to rig this and give it to Moreno.
yeah, for sure.
And yeah, it just the other two judges had it 48-47 Royval, which I believed was correct. If someone scored it 48-7 or 48-47 Moreno, I would have understood. I wouldn't have agreed, but you can't really be mad at that. And then here's the stats. Look at how many strikes Brandon Royval threw in this fight compared to Moreno.
Volume.
Yeah. Even if the percentage was terrible, I saw a lot of people saying he was just, throwing shit out there. Well, Moreno wasn't. And it's not,
437 strikes to the head.
yeah, that is nuts. I thought Moreno's grappling would be able to get the job done once he wasn't able to find it on the feet. But Royval was just really good all around. He was just a better fighter that night on short notice in away territory. And he said he tore his MCL in the first round of the fight. So
Yeah.
I can't really say much. Do you have an opinion on where the flyweight division goes from here? I think we've kind of got to wait till this weekend to really figure things out. But where we stand right now, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, you would have to assume, I mean, Muhammad Makayev's there. Um, Albazi. I think it's just the waiting game here. There's no one clear up next. It's all about waiting, like we said a lot of times with these title fights in the weight class. It's all about timing. So I think right now there's really no clear guy that's up next. I don't know. not opposed to Royval. Obviously, that's a big one on Brandon Moreno, but I would like to see Amir Albazi, um, something like that. Someone like him get a shot.
Yeah, Amir Albazi's really got to be sick to his stomach right now because this was supposed to be his night. And when he was watching that fight, seeing how Moreno looked in there and Royval, he had to be thinking, I could have beaten either of these guys. And if he beat Moreno, he 95% would have been up next for the title shot because he's 17-1. He's fresh blood up there in the division, just a new face. I think he would have gotten that title shot almost guaranteed. I think Muhammad Mokaev has a chance this weekend if he goes out there, beats Perez convincingly. I think he'll be next for the title shot. If he doesn't, maybe you go Royval versus Mokaev. You run Albazi versus Perez back, or you go maybe Albazi versus Royval. I think you got to do something with Royval, Albazi, and Mokaev to figure out who's going to get that next shot versus Pantoja.
Yeah, definitely.
Co-main event, probably the craziest fight of the night. It didn't win fight of the night, but Brian T. City Ortega, before the bell even rung, he rolled his ankle when Bruce Buffer was announcing their names. He was jumping up and down like fighters do, and you just see his ankle buckle and he goes down, kind of has a look on his face like, oh shit. Gets fucked up in the first round by Yair Rodriguez. I think it was Herb. Herb almost stepped in there and called it at one point. Then Ortega ends up finishing the round on top, dominates the second, gets the submission finish in the third. One of the greatest displays of heart I've seen in there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, talk about how Moreno coming off a loss. Yeah, you're coming off a loss too. Is like, damn. But like, I mean, I don't know. I thought T City was kind of in the same boat there.
Oh,
so,
more of that boat, dude.
Yeah. Two like Mexican fighters lose the main and co-main. Shout out Zell Huber and Howard Gee for putting on for the Mexican people there. Big wins from them.
Zell Huber and
Prado, baby, fight of the night.
You absolutely called that one. You even called how the fight was going to go. Said Zell Huber's just going to be a little too technical in there for him, land the better shots, but it's going to be a war. But Zell Huber gets the job done. And Zell Huber impressed me on the mic after the fight too. He was answering the question in Spanish, then he would answer it in English. And you know how much we love that. So here's what I got for Zell Huber. I kind of mapped out the year for him. His next fight should be against Nasrat Haqparast. Haqparast is 28 years old. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's not ranked. He's not right outside the rankings, but he's pretty close. Let's get him on International Fight Week, end of June. Haqparast represents Europe. He represents Afghanistan. Zell Huber represents Mexico. Get the different countries in there. And then if Zell Huber gets out of that with no damage, quick turnaround on the Sphere, UFC 306 in September, wins that. End of the year, Zell Huber's a ranked fighter at 24, 25 years old. I'm ready to see it.
I like it. Let's rock.
Then your girl Yasmin, she didn't deliver for us gambling wise, but she just fought a really smart fight. She had it in hand from the first 2 minutes, so you can't really say much.
Hopefully she's back.
Yeah. Do you think after getting knocked out, she's kind of going to fight that more conservative, smart, technical style when she's up on the scorecards instead of hunting the finish?
Again, it's hard to say like when you're in there, like that's what you're thinking. Obviously when you get knocked out, you're probably going to change your fighting style and it might be for the better. Obviously, like we talk about all the time, like we love the exciting knockouts. We love fighters that go in and just are willing to give one, take one. But a lot of times those fighters don't win. A lot of times that it's not sustainable to a long career and successful career in the UFC. So I'm fine with the way she fought. Obviously, we always love finishes. That's not realistic to get a finish every single time. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, a win, unanimous decision, no one knows how the fight went. They just see you won unanimously. So I like the way she fought. I'm glad she won. I hope she's back. Let's go back on another run.
Yep, I like that. Maybe ranked opponent next or someone right outside the rankings.
Yeah.
So got a comment from Anthony Estrada. Co-main event, sprained ankle and still won. Absolutely, just ridiculous display of heart. One win in the last 6 years. Goes out there, away territory. His ex is in the crowd, Hey,
I
he
also
flexed.
feel like too, if it wasn't in Mexico and he wasn't fighting Yair, he would have got a big ovation from the Mexican. He gets a lot of Mexican support.
Yep. Even if it was in Mexico and he wasn't fighting Yair, if he
Yeah,
was fighting anyone else, he would have had hella support. I remember I went to the weigh-in ceremony when Ortega fought Volk. It was for my 21st birthday, but I was just in Vegas. Didn't go to the fight. But the crowd was all Ortega. They were booing Volk, hella Mexican flags in the air. And Ortega flexed on Tracy, bringing in that baddie to the octagon. Everyone knew Tracy Cortez was in the crowd. Bro, the girl that did the face off with Marab, did you see how hot she was?
I did.
They showed her on the live broadcast, and I texted one of my friends. I was like, she has one of the nicest pairs I've ever seen. If you know what I'm talking about. Insane. It's like she's like a Latina Sydney Sweeney.
Anyone else you liked on this card?
A lot of people, honestly, bro. I did not like the judges. They screwed me over on the prelims. They were on some bullshit all night long. There were 2-3 fights, 2 that they definitely got wrong, another 2 that were questionable, but they were also close fights. So you can't really fault them too much for that. Let's see. I had a couple more names written down. Probably can't find them. Yeah, whatever. Torres, very, very good performance from him. Yeah, that's about it. But very exciting. A lot of young fighters showed their promise, built their name for the Mexican fan base. Anyone else that stood out to you?
No, man. I just want to say shout out to the Mexican crowd. I really like. Obviously, you know me. I'm a big fan of live fight nights, so it was good to see for me. I like going to those countries like that. It's a lot of support. I like going to we go to Mexico, China, Spain, Ireland, all those countries like that when we have someone that they can cheer on. So hope to see more of those. Obviously, we want more live fight nights in the US as well. But I love it. I always love going to those cities. So shout out to everybody for putting on. Shout out to Dana. Shout out to the UFC.